I finished.
Finish.
Finish the copy. Have our left and volume measure. Okay, great. Let's wait 1 minute. 1 minute for your classmates to finish the copy of this topic so we can go to next slide. We can change the slide of this presentation.
I finish, Miss.
Okay, Mia, great. Finished.
Finish. No
Finished.
entré a la clase, no tenía mala conexión con el internet. Bueno, no tenía mala conexión, solo era que no me agarraba el internet.
Okay, don't worry, Mia. I know that sometimes we can have some connection problems. We can have connection problems. Don't worry. Remember that the videos they are recorded, so you can watch later the video, so you can see what we were working also in class. Now, how are left and volume measured? This is so important because we are going to talk about something that the people used to have in the past. But first, let's define what is length. So, Mia, help me to read the definition of length, Mia.
Language, it's a property of matter. I can measure. Miss, tu conexión.
Okay, I'm going to share one more time. I'm going to share.
Okay.
Sorry, Mia. Continue with the reading, Mia. Since the beginning, what is length?
It's is a proper of matter. I can measure the distance between one point and another, or how far apart two points are.
Thank you. So length is a property of matter. Remember, the matter is everything that it's around us. You are an example of matter. People, they're example of matter. Also, the object that you're using, that device is an example of matter. Your dog, your pet is an example of matter. The pencil, the computer, anything. Remember, it's about matter, but it depends of the mass and the volume it has that we can compare them. So length, it's a property of matter, and it can measure the distance between one point and another. So we can know which one is bigger or smaller than the other by the length, or how far apart the 2 points are. Let's see, Valerie, tell me, do you have any question, Valerie?
You can put again the topic.
The topic, you didn't finish the topic. What is the topic, class?
How away and volume
measure.
And volume measure. I'm going to send through the chat so you can copy from there. How are length and volume measure. So if you didn't finish the copy, there it is. Now, copy this in your notebook. This is the first definition that we're going to copy in the notebook. Thank you so much. See, Jan, you write it down. Excellent, excellent. Okay, and Lucia. Now, copy now length in your notebook. Measuring length, and let's write it down. What is length? We have some picture. You don't have to copy the picture. It is just for explanation. Look at this boy. This boy, we have some of the length that it was used on the previous, for a long time ago, for the ancestors. It was using the hands. They used to have the hands to measure, and it means that it has 2 cubits. 1 cubit, it was here from the elbow to the fingers, but 2 cubits, it was from the fingers to the shoulder, we can say, yes. So in those times, they didn't have a rule, they didn't have a meter to measure the distance from one point to another. So they used to use their bodies. They use their bodies. These people used to have their bodies, use the fingers to measure the things. And then after that, they say, oh, I was using my 4 fingers. So imagine these people using 4 fingers to measure the cell phone. Now, no, right? We don't use the fingers to measure how big is your cell phone comparing with another cell phone. There is something that we can use now with these inventions, we can use to measure the distance or how big the mass and the volume that a cell phone can have, comparing with another device. Also, these people can use to have a more things to measure the length, that it was the feet. They used the feet. So they use the feet to measure from one point to another, and they say, okay, from this side to the other side, it was like 100 feet. So imagine that it takes time for them to use the feet instead of using a meter or a meter stick. Though now we have it. Nowadays, we have some different measurement of left tools, like the rule that we use. These people used to use before the invention of this, the fingers, the elbow, feet, the foot. But now we have other tools. We're not going to be using that.
I finished.
Finished? Okay. Now, tell me one thing. I have a question for you, class. What happened if you want to measure, if you want to know the length of your notebook, of your phonics book or your phonics notebook, for example? What things you can use to measure the length of your object, of your book or your notebook?
Rule.
A rule, that's right. You can use a rule to measure the length. And you know, okay, from 0 to 30, it might be 30 centimeters. But imagine that you want to measure the length of the book, but you don't have a meter or you don't have a rule. What things you can do, class, to measure the length of your book, for example?
With the hand.
With the hands, like people before, like people used to do before, right? People used to do before that. They don't have this. For example, I have the phonics book here right with me. I don't know if you see my video. So these people used to measure the things like this. They have the hands and they say, okay, 1 with 4 fingers. And that was the way that they used to measure the length of the things. Imagine doing that and you say, it is 1 hand with 4 fingers more. But for me, it can be that. For Valerie, it can be something different because my hands can be bigger than Valerie's hands. So for me, it can be 1 hand with 4 fingers, but for Valerie, maybe 2 hands because she has it's more hands than me, I suppose. Valerie, tell me.
We have to draw the pictures.
No, you don't have to draw the pictures. Or what about using the feet? Imagine, some of you can have a bigger feet than other ones. You don't have, imagine that you say, okay, my book, it's like from my elbow to my fingers. But from somebody else, it cannot be that because it's totally different. If you measure your hands, your fingers with your mom, your sister, your brother, your bigger sister, your little brother, you are going to identify that you have different length. It's different because some of them can be bigger than yours or you can be smaller than them, right? So that it was to be used in those times, but after that they were realizing that it cannot be possible because when they go to a supermarket or market to buy something, it says, give me that, the measure of that, it's 2 hands of this. The person that it's selling, it might have smaller hands, smaller fingers, so it's going to be bigger than the amount that he was looking for. So that's why it changed. It changed, and now that it was in the 1790. Now let's write the meter. The meter is a new unit since there was a lot of problems. Some people were fighting because it hasn't been possible. So now they invented some of the units that is a meter. Let's copy what is meter, just this.
Do we have to copy too? Did you know it?
No, just meter. Listen to instruction. You just have to copy the meter. This vocabulary word. Meter is a unit for measuring length And the symbol for meter is M. So just let's write it down this. Just this, what is on the green rectangle, the meaning of meter. Nowadays, we don't use hands, you don't use your elbow, you don't use your hair, you don't use your feet to measure the things. We use a meter. We use a meter and the symbol for that is M. So most of the countries use that. You can use a meter stick or a jar stick. Do you know what is a jar stick, class?
No.
A jar stick, no? Okay, meter stick and jar stick, they are synonyms. They are related. Do you see some people that they are creating clothes? They are sewing clothes. Las costureras sewing people's. They have a jar stick and they can have a meter. Una cinta métrica y un metro, they have it, so they can measure the length or the object. So they have a meter stick and a jar stick, class. Did you finish?
No.
No, remember, it's just this where I have to copy.
No, miss, I don't finish.
Just this what it's on here, on the square, the rectangle.
I finished.
Finished?
I finish, miss.
Finish, class? What is the
Yes.
meaning of meter? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Remember that it's a measuring length. The meter is the one that we use. Today we're talking about the length, and the measuring tool for the length. Now, right now, do not copy this. This is just for explanation. Since we have the meter, so we can have some prefixes for meter. We can say, for example, meter, that is the base word, and we say centimeter. It's a prefix, it goes before. Centimeter means that we have 100 of 1. Millimeters, it means that we have 1,000. That's why it says milli. It means 1,000. Kilometers, it means 1,000 also over that.
Miss, I don't finish to copy meter.
You don't finish the copy meter? No?
No.
No? No?
No.
Okay, 10 seconds more. 10 seconds to copy this. Meter, what is meter? Just 10 seconds. Do you know what is meter in Spanish?
I finished.
Yes?
Metro.
Metro, that's right. So we are going to talking about meter. Centimeter means centímetros, right? Do you know that word in Spanish? Centímetros. Milímetros. Kilometros. That is in Spanish. It's the same, but the case here is that it's in English. It's a centimeter. So it means that we're talking about 100 of that. Centimeters. Millimeters, it's about milli. So it means that it's 1,000. And kilometer, it's 1,000 of that. So if you have a rule with you, you can take a look of this. In the rule, you have 1 centimeter, it's equal to 10 millimeters. So we have 0 and 1. Here we have 1 centimeter. From 0 to 1, we have 1 centimeter. That it means that we have 10 millimeters. If you count the lines, you are going to identify that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the biggest one that you see here, the bigger, and then you count 5 more spaces. So it means that we have 10 millimeters. So 1 centimeter, it has 10 millimeters. From 1 to 2, again, from 1 to 2, we have 1 centimeter, and we have 10 more millimeters. But from 0, from 2, we have 20 millimeters. Yes. In the rule, you can take a look at that. If you have a rule, you can check that we have centimeters and millimeters in the rule. If you have one, you can take a look. Here it is, another picture where you can see 0 to 1 centimeter. You have 1 centimeter here. And you have 1 millimeter from 0 to these other lines. There is 1, and you count it. If you count it, you see that we have 10 millimeters. So the next time that you have a rule with you, you can check that we have it. These 10 millimeters in each of these 10 in these centimeters. Now, let's watch a video. We're going to watch a video, but before the video, any question about this class, about measuring length and the centimeters, tools that we can use when we measure the length? No questions? Okay. I'm going to share the video. Let me display the video. So please pay attention. I'm going to be asking questions about the video I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to make a question and also at the end. So please pay attention to this video. Okay, just let me share the sound. I think that you can listen to the video.
People used to measure the length of objects. They used their palm, forearm, or feet to measure the length.
Did you listen to the video, class?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. I'm going to put the subtitles so you can listen because this is an English speaker, so it's different from American speaker. It might be hard, maybe it's to identify, so you have the subtitle.
They used their palm, forearm, or feet to measure the length of the objects. But
100 centimeters.
100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. That's right. What else? What else do you remember, class, in this video? What things you can share? Anything, Kala? You don't remember anything? Yeah, thank you for being honest, but being honest, it's great, but you need to pay attention to that video. You don't understand too much? Okay, okay, don't worry. Now, in the video, remember that it was this boy talking about some objects that you can use when you are measuring, if you want to measure the length of the objects. If you want to know, so you can use, for example, a ruler. He was explaining here that we have 1 centimeter from 0 to 1. From 1 to 2, you have 1 centimeter and so on, right? So in the ruler, you can find centimeters. That's why you see here on the ruler, if you have a ruler, you can check that you have the letter C and the letter M. That is an abbreviation, that is a short form of saying centimeter. And it was telling you that the divisions of this centimeter, it has some lines, these small lines that you see here, that they are in red. It means that they are millimeters. They are the millimeters. It's a smaller unit of the centimeters. So that is the two things that it was displaying here. Then it says, when you want to measure the length of a book, for example, a pencil box, pencil case, or any other object that it's not too big, you use a rule, right? With a rule, you can know the length of that object. But what you can have a rule that it's bigger than other one. For example, here in this presentation, in this video, the boy was displaying that we can have rulers that it can have just 15 centimeters or biggest ones like 30 centimeters. But what happened if you want to measure, for example, here that I was saying that if you want to measure the clothes, you're not going to use a rule. You're not going to use a rule to measure the clothes. It's going to take too much time for you. Imagine that you want to measure the table where you are sitting down right now. If you have a table just for you, it might take a lot of time. If you want to measure also The refrigerator, if it is a big one, it's going to take time. Use just a rule that it have just 10 centimeters or 15 centimeters. Or if you want to measure, for example, the door that is it's a big door, or a television, so it's going to take too much time. And we don't want to spend a lot of time measuring that object, right? So you're not going to use a rule. You are going to use something else that it was saying this board. It's going to take less time and less effort if you use something else. If you use something else, for example, this, the closet, the cabinet, or any other thing that you have that you know that it's bigger in your house, you're not going to use a rule. You're going to use something else that it was saying that you can use a metal stick, or you can use a jar. So that it's going to be easier for you to identify this. It was, see here, have you ever seen this before? You have one of this in your house, mirror stick? No? You can use this to measure if it is in big object. If it is a big object like this, it's going to be easier. It's going to take less time be measuring with one rule. So that it was basically the video, that when we are measuring, we can have just these objects. We can have some objects of this, so we can measure different things. Biggest objects, they can be used with a meter stick, and small one, it can be used with a rule. Questions about this class, about this?
No.
No question, everything is clear. No. Okay, let's finish today. Here, we don't have homework in science this week, right? You don't have homework, so let's finish. See you next class. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.